Welcome to UK Media Warrior, everyone, and this time we're going to be looking at Sully, Miracle on the Hudson, Clint Eastwood film, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Tom Hanks and Aaron Eckhart, and tells the story of Captain Chesley Sullenberger, who heroically brought down an Airbus passenger jet onto the Hudson with no fatalities and no casualties. That, in and of itself, is an amazing, obviously heroic achievement, and nothing this film can really do would ever take away from the man's ability and what he did on that day. And to be fair to the film, they never try and amp up the hero worship for this guy. I mean, there are a couple of scenes where people sort of like hug him in the film and tell him how great he is and that sort of thing, but that's all external, portrayed on the character of Captain Sullenberger, Sully himself. He himself, portrayed in the film by Tom Hanks, is a very humble, self-depreciating sort of person who just sees that he did his job. That's all he did. He was paid to do his day's work, and his day's work was taking these passengers from point A to point B safely, making sure they all got there alive. When something happened along the way, he did everything in his power to make sure those people survived the crash on the Hudson River. Other than that, anything above and beyond that, in his eyes, shouldn't be placed on his shoulders, because it was a team effort. Himself, his co-pilot, the stewardesses, the air stewardesses on board, and even the passengers to some degree. So it's a film that encompasses everything that happened on that day and everything that happened afterwards. Now, there has been some controversy that the National Transportation Safety Board, who undertook the investigation of the plane crash, portrayed in this film as rather prosecutorial and like they're trying to railroad Sully for what he did. Now, according to a quote by Tom Hanks, when Captain Sullenberger read the script, he asked that the National Transportation Safety Board members' names were removed and fictional names put in their place, because in his mind, he didn't see that they were being prosecutors. They were just doing their job. And it's an incredibly tough job, and to be fair to them, their reputation worldwide for investigating air crashes and trying to save millions of people's lives every year is a gold standard and is above reproach, really. So although Clint Eastwood, in directing this film, has made them out to be the bad guy, and I suppose from a filmmaker's fictional point of view there had to be a bad guy, there had to be something for the hero of the story, Sully, to push against in some regard. Otherwise it would have been quite a boring film. Everyone would have been saying, yeah, he's a hero, look what he did, and then the safety board would have come and said, yeah, he's a hero, he did fantastic, he did everything right. It would have been a rather sort of heavily one-sided film. Now, the actual events of the film are obviously, everyone knows, are highly publicised. In January 15th, 2009, he did manage to land his airplane on the Hudson River with no fatalities and no casualties, as I've already stated. The whole event took 208 seconds, the landing. And as Tom Hanks says in the film as Sully, the man himself had spent over 40 years in the air. That was his life, flying planes. That's what he did. That's what he had always done. That's what he enjoyed doing. He was very professional about it, and he was very experienced about it. That was his job. 40 years in the air, delivering millions of passengers, and his entire character, life, and person was going to be decided on 208 seconds. It's a lot for the guy to take on board, and this film does a fantastic job of, also the way it's put together as well, it does a fantastic job of showing the character of Sully, as well as his co-pilot, played by Aaron Eckhart, Jeffrey Skiles, and how he backed Sully all the way. he as he says during the inquiry, he was the only other one in the cockpit. He knows exactly what happened on that day. He was there sitting beside Sully, flying that plane. So it's a very strong cast. As I say, you've got Tom Hanks, Aaron Eckhart, both playing solid characters, very well portrayed on screen. Hanks is without doubt the premier actor in the world today, to my mind. I'm sure other people have others, that Michael Fassbender or whatever. But to my mind, Hanks is without doubt the best of the lot. He can immerse himself in the role of the character that he is playing. When you're watching a Tom Hanks film, you're watching him on screen, you don't see Tom Hanks. You honestly just see the character that he is playing, be him a captain in the army in Saving Private Ryan, or playing a professor in the Da Vinci Code, or whatever. In this case, playing Sully Sullenberger in Miracle on the Hudson. You don't see Tom Hanks, you only see the character, because he gives you 110% portraying that character on screen. And he's like a chameleon. He can turn into whatever character he needs to be. And in this one, as I've said before, he portrays Sully as a man who is being overwhelmed by the media, by his popularity, by the hero worship he's suddenly receiving. I mean, this is an older guy. He's not used to this. He's always flown under the radar. He's a very, low-key, very normal guy, guy in the streets, sort of Joe Bloggs guy. And he isn't used to this. Add on top of that the PTSD that he's suffering from the crash in and of itself, and he keeps envisioning what would have happened if he'd have actually not landed in the Hudson. What would have happened if he'd have tried to make it to one of the airports? And he keeps seeing the plane crashing into buildings over and over again. He can't sleep. He's tired. He's under all this pressure from the board of his safety who are investigating the crash. And it comes across, you understand that you get this on screen, and you feel for this guy. Now, the film has been edited and put together by Clint Eastwood in a slightly different way. You get to see the crash, but you really don't see all of it until at least halfway through the film. You see like snippets in the first half, the first act, beginning of the second act, but you don't really get to see the entire crash until about halfway through the second act onwards, when the safety board is investigating and when Sullenberger has been forced to relive what he did on the day, and how he recalls it. And it's a very well put together film in that, despite this, everyone would imagine you're going to go into the sit down in the cinema, the film's going to start, the first thing you're going to see is the crash. No, you don't. You get to know Sullenberger, you get to know Sully first, and then you start to see the crash, and then you get to all of the crash, and then you get everything that's been leading up to this moment. And it works for that. I mean, this is another possible Oscar nomination for Tom Hanks. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get the nod, because it's well deserved. I mean, it'd be another golden statue on his mantelpiece, and the man has a few, but why not? He's that good an actor. So, let it be. This film is a very all-encompassing film. It's very deep. It sucks you in before you know it, and you're emoting and you're connecting with these characters, all the characters on the screen. And the thing is, it's hard to give spoilers, even if I wanted to. This really isn't a spoiler review. Everything I've said is I've already been seen in the trailers, or because this is a true life story being brought to screen, everyone knows what happened. So you can't really give spoilers about it as such, because it was all over the news. It's one of those things that everyone knows about. So if you're interested in going to see this film, you probably already know a little bit about what happened in it. You won't be disappointed. It's a fantastic directed film. Clint Eastwood again shows his directing chops here, and shows just how well he can put a film together. Tom Hanks, fantastic. Aaron Eckhart, fantastic in a sporting role here. I honestly can't give this film enough glory, enough compliments, because it really is fantastic. Is it going to be the top film of the year? No. It'll probably be in my top 5. Top 10, top 5 definitely. It won't be at the top. I'm still putting Hell or High Water up there. But this is a fantastic, solid Tom Hanks film. Fantastic, solid Clint Eastwood film. And you would love it. Anyone who has even the vaguest, smallest interest in this story, you'll love this film. It's amazing. Please go and see it. You really will enjoy it. You guys take care. And I will see you for another episode of UK Media Warrior very soon, where we'll be looking at the new Disney Moana film. Take care. See you later, guys.